ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you?
It's time to flip a coin and find out.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
We're calling it to see who's got the best sports knowledge here on the Coin Flip with Martin Kelly
and Jacob Zimmerman.
Flip it again.
That's right. You see us, the Coin Flip podcast, reloaded. Not just audio, we got video. How's it going? It's been a while. We don't even know what episode this is. Welcome into the Coin Flip podcast. Jacob Zimmerman, Martin Kelly.
What's up?
Wait, it's been a little while since we've done this.
I think it's been since October since we've done this. We haven't done one in a long time.
We've been mad busy, been calling games, keeping up with Dixie State athletics. And, you know, with the Super Bowl right around the corner, with NBA trade deadline basically here, I couldn't think of a better time to bring back the Coin Flip. We're not going to do a full hour today.
I agree with you on
but we're going to bring it back a little easier.
I like it.
Do a 30-minute segment. We'll talk, quick rundown off the top of my head. We're going to talk about the few trades that happened in the NBA, particularly the stuff that's going on with Indiana. They just shipped Sabonis to Sacramento.
Yes, they did.
And they got back a really nice young player in return.
Yes,
a few days before that, there was Ricky Rubio, who went down early in the season, torn ACL. He got traded away. And the Cavs got a nice young piece as well. And then, Martin, there was a third trade that went down that was arguably the biggest, and it was CJ McCollum going to the Pelicans.
Yep.
Then we're going to talk Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's coming up. Super Bowl 56, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Between the Bengals from the AFC and in the NFC, the Rams. This should be a good one.
Yep, it should be a good one. Let's go. Let's hit that button. Let's get it in.
All right.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer! It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it!
3 and 2. LeBron to win the game. He does! He does!
The ball comes in. Kobe's got it. Above the three-point line, taking a little bit of time. One dribble, pull up. For the win, he's got it! The Lakers win!
McKee gets it in the middle for the win. It's there!
With two, Wade puts it up for the win. Yeah, baby!
Oh my, we are witnessing one of the great players to ever play in this league. And man, I hope it lasts for another 7, 8, 9 years, baby.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's the Coin Flip Podcast here. Jacob Zimmerman, Martin Kelly, man. We having a good time up in here. We're going to bring on some just interesting news we both gotten on our phones here. Jacob, I'm going to dive in here to the three-point contest real quick. I just want to give you the names here, Jacob. So, your three-point contest contenders this year, ladies and gentlemen, to me, this is the best event going on in All-Star Weekend because the Slam Dunk Contest has been highly overrated the last few years. It's lost its credibility. So, making this quick, Jacob, your three-point contest contenders are Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls, Desmond Bane from the Charlotte Hornets, Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves, Fred VanVleet from the Toronto Raptors, CJ McCollum, the brand new New Orleans Pelicans. We're going to talk about him in a couple seconds. Luke Kennard from the Los Angeles Clippers, Patty Mills from the Brooklyn Nets, and that bad man, that ice Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks. That is your three-point contest contenders.
Can't complain about that lineup at all. I think the name that sticks out to me is actually Desmond Bane because before this season, nobody really knew who Desmond Bane was. So we'll see how kind of a guy under the radar like that a lot of NBA nerds are obsessed with by this point. Let's see how he does against those big names.
I'm surprised by Karl Anthony Towns. Usually, I'm surprised by this because usually in the contest, Jacob, they don't put a whole lot of big three-point shooters in the contest anymore. It's more like they want all the happy-go-lucky, shooting like crazy point guards and shooting guards that shoot up like 15, 16 threes in a game. So to see a big in the three-point contest, I'm excited about that because Larry Bird won this contest twice. Those were the first 2 years. He was a forward, so let's see if another forward can win a three-point contest. I like it.
Those are your three-point contestants just named, and something that just happened as we're recording this. By the time that you are hearing this, watching this right now, you would have known. Martin, the Nets are being outscored 28-2 right now in the first quarter against the Boston Celtics. Shocker.
Wow.
But we're here to talk about the trades in the NBA. Woj put out the bomb. We'll start with the one that happened today, Martin.
You dropped the bomb before that. Holy crap.
Something that we didn't even mention there. Bradley Beal is out for the year now. He's having season-ending wrist surgery on that left wrist.
Yes, he did.
The Wizards kind of set their bar high this year with the trade. They got back some nice pieces in return for Russell Westbrook. But, they had a really nice start to the season. Since then, kind of cooled off. And with this bomb right here, we can say that's the end of Washington's season.
Yeah, we can say that's the end of Washington's season. I don't think this is going to hurt Bradley Beal's trade value coming into the summer. I don't think teams are going to hold that over the Wizards' head saying he has surgery.
It's not a shooting wrist.
It's not a shooting wrist, so it's not going to affect him completely. It's just he's going to have differing ball handling skills. He's going to have to learn after the surgery. That's usually a typical thing that players go through after you get a surgery. You got to learn how to move your hands again like you used to. You got to get the rhythm back in your hands. So I understand that. I still believe this should be the summer they trade him. I don't think you're going to get any better value than right now. I don't think you trade him before the draft because I honestly do not believe this draft is that deep. I think it's a very light class coming into this year. I think there's some good players. I just don't see any outstanding, potentially transformative talent that's going to turn your franchise around. I don't see that player in this draft. So I think if you trade him during the summer to a contender that's willing to unload some young players for a top athlete, I think you'll find that team during the summer. It depends on who. I would not be surprised if a team like Miami, if a team like Philly, if a team like Brooklyn, if a team like the Clippers or the Lakers, obviously, go after Bradley Beal for how much, I'm not sure.
Moving on here, scrolling down Woj's timeline on Twitter, Domantas Sabonis got traded for Tyrese Halliburton. It wasn't just Tyrese, it was also Buddy Hield, a little bit more to that trade as well, but those were kind of the main gist of it. Tyrese Halliburton is heading to the Pacers. That's the main storyline here. Domantas Sabonis, we kind of come to a consensus. He's maybe slightly overrated in the grand scheme of the NBA. Sure, he's a nice piece, but he's not going to get any more media attention in Sacramento than he did playing in Indiana. He's not going to move the needle. His statistics aren't going to jump insane. And out of all the pieces that you had in Sacramento, I think the guy that you least wanted to move was Halliburton. His percentages, Martin, as a second-year player, he's averaging over 13 points a game, which isn't crazy, but as your backup point guard, that's solid. He's averaging over 7 assists per game.
Wow.
And he's shooting over 41% from three.
Wow, that's a great value in the NBA now.
He is, it is almost unheard of for a young point guard to be available this early into his career, but yet put up the efficiency that Halliburton is.
I think he's got the writing on the wall for a great six-man. I think he's really more like that Jamal Crawford type player that's going to add, 18, 19, 20 points coming off the bench, can give you 7, 8 assists. I mean, listen, man.
Start for the Pacers.
He can start for the Pacers, but remember those days of Jamal Crawford? Like, he was a starting point guard, yes, but I remember the days more when he was moved to that six-man and how explosive he would be off the bench, how exciting he would be to watch, and how much energy he would bring to that second group to enter onto that court. I think that's the same thing with Halliburton. This kid is electrifying. This kid is smooth in his handlings. He is so quick. He is so smart, dude. Like, that's the thing that I don't think we consider in the NBA anymore is how smart a player can be. I think Halliburton is that smart. To your other side of that deal with Sabonis, I'll compare it to like this, Jacob. There are two bigs in the Western Conference. One of them we talk about so much that he is an amazing talent and deserves to be, And another one we don't talk about too much, but we mention him when we talk about him. It's Josip Jurkic and Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic gets all of the media attention. He's a MVP. He's an all-star. He's a potentially transformative franchise player. Josip Jurkic in Portland, a nice player, but we don't talk about him on a daily basis. We don't talk about him amongst the top bigs in the NBA. We don't give him that media attention he deserves because he doesn't surprise anybody on the NBA court. The only reason he gets some coverage is because he plays next to Damian Lillard on the same basketball court. So I look at it the same way with Domantas Sabonis. Yes, he's a great talent, but he got more media coverage because he played next to Miles Turner and had Karis LeVert on his team, and Victor Oladipo was there for a small minute. He got more coverage because of those guys. Sabonis is a good talent, but he's not going to turn your franchise around.
Speaking of playing next to Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum was also traded today. McCollum leaving Portland, and, Martin, this has to be maybe the most head-scratching deal of them all.
Yep.
The Pelicans, I think, made a nice move here. They could have gone the route of, we don't know if B.I. is going to sign. We don't know if Zion wants to re-sign.
Yep.
And they could have just went out quiet. But nope, they didn't do that. They're all guns blazing right now. Try to compete with any last straw that they can, trading for my man C.J. McCollum. McCollum, I think he's going to be a nice addition to this team, can play that 2 spot. Zion coming back. I think you're 2, 3, and 4. Zion, Ingram, and now here with McCollum.
Yep.
I think that 2, 3, 4 lineup is really, really deadly. As for the Portland Trailblazers, this is the real story. Portland is clearly rebuilding now, and it's a ticking time bomb before they trade Damian Lillard, either sometime during the deadline or probably at the end of the year where they can get the best deal. That's when they will do so. I think based off the past couple moves, the Norman Powell move, I don't really think they're getting a lot back in these past couple deals that they've made. And for the future, if you're up there in Rip City, you got to be scared. It's going to be a long time before they can compete again.
Yeah, you're right about that, but I also think they're looking at this as there's some reports coming out of Portland from some of their beat writers that Portland is trying to add a top-tier talent to the Portland Trailblazers this coming up summer. They're trying to clear up some cap space to probably lure a top-level athlete to come play with Damian Lillard in Portland, which I'll give them credit to, considering they've sat on the sidelines and have decided not to do anything for a very long time with Damian Lillard, only getting to a conference finals one time with Damian Lillard, and, obviously they blew those 3 games in a row. They could have actually won that series, but that's a different story for a different day. The point is, I think they're trying to do too much. If they lure a top-tier athlete to Portland, it better be a damn good one. It better not be like a B-plus player like Julius Randle or, as much as I would love Bradley Beal to go there, it better not be like a Bradley Beal or a Julius Randle or like a Derrick Rose or anybody that's kind of a sloppy second. You better go after a LeBron-type player and bring him to Portland. Otherwise, whatever you can get for Damian Lillard, you better take that deal, because I will caution the Portland Trailblazers on hanging on to a top-tier athlete and not trading them too soon. Look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia hasn't gotten anybody to bite on Ben Simmons. Though Ben Simmons is a top athlete, no one's biting on him whatsoever. Until now, obviously, we got the rumors going around, but it's the same thing with Portland. If you don't get anybody, dude, people are going to be knocking on your door for Damian Lillard, and you better take the best offer. Otherwise, you might as well shoot yourself in the foot and just waste Damian.
This next story, it's not a huge trade. It's Ricky Rubio had a season-ending injury earlier this season.
Yes,
he was on the Cavs for Karis LeVert, who was a nice young piece. LeVert, in the trade before, that's when they found out that he had the cancerous tumor in his lung. And without that trade, luckily this time he was traded with no hassle or anything like that. But the real story here is the team that LeVert is going to, the Cleveland Cavaliers, because no one saw the Cavs being anywhere close to this good. Not at all.
Nope.
Not a chance. And I kind of like the move if they're Cleveland, because what this move does is they're not killing their cap.
Nope.
They're not going necessarily all in. They're making their team better right now, but LeVert is still young, and that team is all still young.
Yes.
And so for them to get this, off of an expiring deal like Rubio, this was going to look really bad for Indiana if they didn't follow it up with the last 2 trades that they did.
You got to give Cleveland and J.D. Bickerstaff, the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, all the credit in the world. The fact that they got Cleveland to actually be good. Let's think about this for a second, Jacob. All right, you are a LeBron James fan. Name me the last time the Cleveland Cavaliers were good without LeBron James.
The 90s.
Exactly. So the fact that the Cavaliers are doing this without their most legendary, most historically recognized franchise player of all time, not in uniform, I got to give them credit all in the world. Dude, Jarrett Allen looks good. Darius Garland looks good. They got Evan Mobley playing good basketball. I mean, they got Karis LeVert now. They got 3 young guards and a young forward to build around for the rest of their life. They also have, which I still like, and they could possibly turn this around, they still got Kevin Love. They still got a decently veteran forward on their team.
He's really coaching that squad up.
He is coaching that squad up. He could be probably an assistant down the road, but for now, he's a truly good leader for this basketball team. Adding Karis will not take him over the top. We're not going to see the Cavs in the finals. Don't worry about that. We're not going to get that. This is going to be Cavs Warriors part 200 in the finals. We're not going to get that storybook ending, okay? But if they can make some noise, if they can win a round in the playoffs, if they can make a series out of a series in the first round, dude, Cleveland's in the right direction. 3 of the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference are from the Central. The Chicago Bulls at 1, the Milwaukee Bucks at 3, and the Cleveland Cavaliers at 5. 3 Central teams, 2 of those we never even thought would have got into the play-in, let alone the playoffs. It has been a fun year for the NBA.
And that's a perfect way to end the NBA segment. It has been a fun year in the NBA. Lots of what-ifs, lots of we still don't know what is going to happen yet. It seems like the balance of power in the NBA shifts on a week-to-week basis.
It does, because think about it this way, Jacob. I know we got to get to the NFL real quick, but in our lifetime, you and I have been watching basketball, right? And since we were 10, 11 years old till now, it's either been Kobe, LeBron, Kevin, James, Kyrie, Steph, Clay, right? Now we're getting John Morant. Now we're getting Zion Williamson. Now we're getting all these Zach LaVine. Now we're getting all
Luka.
these Luka. We're getting Trae Young. We're getting Halliburton. We're getting all these young guns all over the place in the NBA, dude, and they're making it more fun. The mantle is being passed right over, and there's not a beat dropping whatsoever in the games.
Speaking of young guns, we got to talk about a young gun in the NFL, and his name is Joe.
Oh, I like it.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Sanders still on his feet. Sanders is gone. Barr with daylight and time goes for the whole thing. Touchdown! Green Bay leads. Brett Favre. Rice. He's open. No flags are down. Touchdown. And here's a sack. Lawrence Taylor comes over the top.
Leon left. No.
DeLone fires to an open Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way. No flags down. Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime. 6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. He did what?
He did what? That's my favorite button, Jacob. That is absolutely my favorite button. That was so much fun creating. I appreciate everybody who listens to the Coin Flip podcast. I appreciate everybody who enjoys those little hot buttons. I put a good amount of work into those, man. Those were a lot of fun making. Anyway,
Those were legendary. Those were before your time.
Jacob, open up this NFL segment. We got the Super Bowl in a few days, bud.
We sure do. It is coming up, going down on Sunday.
Yep.
Martin, I feel like there hasn't really been a Super Bowl kind of like this in a while. You know, one team with a lot of stars, with a lot of studs, a lot of household names in a big city like LA,
Yep.
a coach like McVay, a stadium like SoFi. But then they're going up against a team that we've really never seen before. The Cincinnati Bengals, they have a nice combination, quarterback, running back, receiver, probably one of the best in the league for that matter. They got a defense who still people are really underrating that has shown up when it's mattered most.
That's true.
Made it hard on Patrick Mahomes.
That's true.
And, the Bengals just kind of have the mentality of we don't care what anybody in the media says does or expects of us. Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr, whatever you say it, he's going to show up in the chain, in the fur coat, ready to roll in the Super Bowl with his boys in the stripes alongside him. Martin, this is going to be a fun Super Bowl.
I really think this is going to be a fun Super Bowl, and I'm already going to say it right out there. I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game. Yeah. I'm already going that far. Listen, I think the Bengals will win this game solely on the idea because if they can survive a 9-sack game and kick a field goal and win, and they can survive being down 18 at halftime and still kick a field goal and win, there's nothing this team can't pull off. There's nothing this team can't figure out.
Kansas City of all teams. I mean, something that needs to be said, Martin, is, the Bengals have played good second half football the last couple of weeks, and the one thing that you could nitpick with the Rams is that they've played bad second half football the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, their last really good second half win came in the NFC Championship game. They did have the moment of the collapse against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They did have the collapse in the final game against the Niners where they were up 17-0. They blew that game as well as SoFi. So they do have that bug of, we're a first half team. Do we have enough energy to keep it up in the second half? You bring up a great point with that, Jacob. So I think that's also, a side of this coin. Also, I think, it depends on how the defenses are going to attack these offenses. I mean, dude, literally, it's a track star game of either how do you stop Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase versus how do you stop Odell Beckham Jr. and Cooper Kupp. I mean, that's seriously the assignments these teams got 2 weeks in advance to the Super Bowl was, all right, how do we coverage-wise? There's no way in hell we're going to leave any of these guys man-to-man, one-on-one running down the sideline. There's no way in hell we're going to do that. How do we coverage-wise scheme enough to hide these guys in the schemes? And I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I think if the offenses take over in this game, final score, 45-42 Cincinnati.
Oh, my
We're going
goodness.
high. We're going skyrocket high.
Oh, my goodness.
We got fireworks going all over the place.
That score's higher than Wiz Khalifa, man. Oh, my
and
gracious.
I predict also that the Cincinnati Bengals will not be punting one time in the Super Bowl.
So you're predicting an over of 80?
Yes.
87 points?
Yes.
Can I even do math? Oh, my gosh.
That would be actually, that's 87 points.
Here's what I'm thinking, Martin. I'm thinking, I really want to come out and say the Bengals are going to pull off an upset here. That was my initial thought. Sometimes the media kind of lets thoughts settle, and sometimes it's better to trust your thought right at the end of that Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Couple weeks back now, a week and a half back, than it was to have all these storylines sit. My takeaway after the championship games was the Bengals look like the best team in the NFL right now. Mm-hmm. But what I have to say is that I think the defense in the NFC is superior, and it's kind of hard to see that, one conference versus the other. Now they're going up against each other. We don't know how those competitions would have played. We don't know what the 49ers versus the Chiefs would have looked like.
No, we do not.
So it's a tough matchup here. There's a lot going on, and my score prediction is this. If I had to lead anything, Martin, I think I'm debating about betting the squares. You know what the squares are in the Super Bowl?
I do not.
The squares in the Super Bowl, if you're going to bet, basically you're choosing a final score, but it's just the second digit.
Ooh.
Or if it's single digits, it's that number. So, for example, the one I'm thinking is Rams 1, Bengals 0. So that could be 31-20, 31-30, 21-20. I'm probably leaning, if I had to pick the exact score, I would say something around 21-20 in favor of the Rams, just giving them the respect with Aaron Donald. Martin, I think you're forgetting something. I witnessed Von Miller's Super Bowl MVP performance with my eyes glued to that TV because my Carolina Panthers were in the Super Bowl, and I got the feeling he's going to have another, solid performance. I think Donald, Miller are probably both locks for at least one sack in this game with the Bengals offensive line. With that all being said, even with the offensive line of the Bengals being as atrocious as it's been, I don't think they're going to give up 9 sacks again.
I don't think so either. They only gave up 3 in the game prior in the AFC Championship game, so I agree with you on that one.
You add it all together. My final prediction is that the Bengals cover the 4.5-point spread.
Okay.
But I don't know if I can go as far as to say it's tough, because normally in a game like this, Martin, the team with the experience, the Rams had the experience. Most of that roster was there in the Super Bowl just 3 years ago. The Bengals have a ton of new guns. Joe Burrow is going to be back in the Super Bowl. I can almost guarantee it. It just feels like one of those scenarios where the Rams should get this win. And so based off that reason alone, I can't predict the Bengals to get the money line dub, but I can predict them to cover the spread.
I agree with that. I'm still picking them to win the Super Bowl. You know what? I picked the underdogs. I like the underdogs. I think they have a better chance than the favorites to win. I know it's a bold one because, Jacob, forget about being born. You and I weren't even thought of 31 years ago. Not even then. We're going back. We're going back to 1989 in the Super Bowl, the last time that the Bengals were in one, dude.
Jeez.
Seriously, 1989, dude. Wow. I'm only 25. That was 33 years ago, dude. 33 years ago.
And they're back. It's time. I remember. So, good friend of mine, Zach, is a big Bengals fan, and I remember meeting him 3 years ago and learning that he was a Bengals fan, and it kind of just being a joke. and even last year when Joe Burrow, that's the craziest thing of this whole thing, is that people are forgetting that Joe Burrow tore his, almost his entire knee up.
Yep.
Just a little bit over than a calendar year ago, Martin.
Yes, he did.
Incredible turnaround. Never seen anything like it in the sport of football.
We
Insane.
We laughed at the Bengals. The Bengals picked Jamar Chase with the 5th pick overall in the NFL draft. What are you thinking? Panay Sewell is sitting right there. Take him. He's the left tackle of the future. Nope.
Boy, they proved us wrong.
They proved us wrong. They took the Randy Moss and said, nope, he's going to be exactly what he was going to be, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. And you know what? Give credit to Cincinnati for laughing at us now. Give them credit. Could they win the Super Bowl? I hope they win
the final storyline I want to talk about here. People are already covering the quarterbacks a lot. Stafford. People are covering OBJ in the Super Bowl a lot. We know that.
Yes.
Something that I think is not getting the proper attention is that if the Rams win and Cooper Kupp has anything like the stat line he had in the NFC Championship game, he's winning Super Bowl MVP, and that might just be the greatest single season wide receiver season ever. Triple crown, Super Bowl MVP.
You got a good case in that. I can't put him ahead of
coming out of nowhere.
Listen,
one season.
You got me there, but I cannot put him ahead of the Calvin Johnson year. The Calvin Johnson year where he went completely and utterly Megatron over everybody. I still have that as the best wide receiver season of all time.
That's probably the best.
That's probably the best.
I think maybe when they look back at it, or even when it happens, it might be dubbed the greatest.
Well, it's just amazing. I think these playoffs were the most fun I've had in a long time.
Hands down, Martin.
But you got to also think about it, Jacob. Only a home team in the playoffs, right? The Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, okay, and the Los Angeles Rams were the only 3 home teams to get wins in the playoffs. Every other game was won by the road team, not by the home team. Everybody else won a road game instead of a home game.
That divisional round, Martin, was the best weekend of football in the NFL, maybe ever.
That was just so much fun. NFL, and now what you got to do is give the teams a second bye week during the regular season, okay? All right? Move the season a little bit further back. I don't need football all the way until March, okay? I want the NBA. I want the NHL, all right? I want to focus on other sports. Get the stuff done in mid-January. Call it a day. Go into the offseason. Leave me alone. I got baseball coming up in the spring. I want to go enjoy that, okay? But nonetheless, Jacob, been a pretty damn fun NFL season. I enjoyed it, dude. A lot of storylines, a lot of action, and the fact that we got the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl.
That's something. Yeah, if you're not rooting for the Bengals here, I don't know what you're doing.
Hey, listen, NFL writers who made all this stuff out before the season started and had the Bengals in the Super Bowl, you guys need a pay raise because you guys aced it, okay? You
need a pay raise. We need a search warrant for their time machine. That's the Coin Flip podcast, kind of reloaded. Now on videos, we have
Let's go!
The camera setups to do so. Martin says Bengals 45-42.
Yes.
I'm saying Bengals cover, but the Rams win 21-20 in a low-scoring. Very opposite predictions there. That's Martin Kelly. I'm
What's up?
Jacob Zimmerman. And that's going to do it. Good to see you once again.
Peace.